Greyman Countermeasures, the third installation in this, I guess, what is now a video series. We've been talking about Greyman the last few days, and we've had a good amount of engagement on it, and it just got me thinking. Okay, Greyman, urban suburban camouflage, right? Go away, son. Urban suburban camouflage allows you to move around generally undetected. Okay. Countermeasures, right? What if somebody is using the Greyman tactic against you or against your people? What do you do? What do you look for? Okay. So, first things first, man. If you are in a, say, a homesteading community situation where it's you and a group of people out on a piece of land, establish a perimeter. Okay, as soon as something goes down, establish a perimeter. And you need to have eyes on people before they have eyes on you, okay? Overwatch. Right? You need to be taking advantage of all the good vantage points, good lines of sight, the whole nine. I want to know about people coming my direction before they are on top of me, okay? So, you should see a Greyman coming. The question's going to be, is he a Greyman? Or is he just a man, right? What am I dealing with? And I'm talking about in like a suburban/rural environment. What am I looking at? Well, if it's a Greyman that I'm looking at, how do you tell? I'm going to search your bag, man. I'm going to search your bag, or at least I'm going to ask you to open it. And the way that you respond to that is going to affect how we move forward. That's just the basic truth. Now, I'm going to expect somebody to have a Glock 19 on them, or a 357, 38 Special, Taurus PT 111, whatever, Beretta 92. Like, I'm going to expect somebody to have weapons on them. But the degree to which they are armed is going to be an indicator to me as to what I'm dealing with. I'm also going to expect anybody and everybody to have some type of gear and equipment with them. If you're moving around on foot, you got to put some kind of kit together. You just have to, right? You're carrying a pack. What's in the pack? I need to know. And so the question there, and I'm sure the comment there is going to be, well, why would anybody open their pack? Kind of he who has the most toys wins. If I got 4 guys in a security detail and 3 of them have got weapons pointed at you and the 4th one has got his weapon stowed and is motioning for you to open your bag, what are you going to do? You're going to resist and end up a statistic, or you're going to not resist and we're going to get to know each other a little bit better. Now, that's in an ideal situation. What about a less than ideal situation? Let's say this guy gets in, breaches your perimeter. Then what? Man, it's going to be like anything else. It's going to be like anything else. I just need to know, are you a good guy or are you not a good guy? And it's rife with conflict, man. Because if SHTF, I'm going to be walking down the road in my kit. And I would not expect anybody to look at me and think, oh yeah, he seems like a good, trustworthy guy. Why don't you come over, man, have a beer, let's hang out, let's talk. Now, I do think to a certain extent the Father's going to open people's eyes to stuff like that. And he's going to talk to you in languages you can understand. So if you have somebody that comes upon you and they're supposed to be there, I believe you will get an urging from the Ruach, the spirit, right? And if they're not supposed to be there, same thing. Your gut will tell you. The hair on the back of your neck will tell you. Trust your instincts. Now, that's an SHTF, right? And the fact of the matter is, I think most Greymen are going to have a distance in mind as they're moving about. Because the idea of the Greyman is to move about unnoticed or relatively unnoticed. But you gotta, if you're moving about, you're going somewhere, right? So by and large, I would assume, with all the asterisks and caveats that come with that assumption, that these people are more or less passing through. Okay. Now, what about in daily life, though? Because, as I said, Greyman is urban and suburban camouflage. Some people can get away with it. I can't. I'm on people's radar immediately. Most people's radar. That's another story for another time. But there are certain situations where being a big bearded dude with tattoos does give you plausible deniability. But they're very specific situations. So, but here's the thing, right? I can't do that. But lots of other people can. So I have to assume in my daily life, in my daily walk, that the 5'7", 145-pound guy that I'm talking to, who maybe, and look, I've done a lot of things in my life. One of the things I've done is, in the winters in New York, I would bounce at bars because it was cold and it was easy money. Did that for a while. And so I've thrown a lot of people out of bars. And, martial arts is a funny thing, right? It's that saying, God created man, Samuel Colt made them equal. Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's done a lot for equalizing people as well. Because that 140-pound, 5'7" guy can dominate you if he knows what he's doing. Same thing with Aikido, same thing with Krav Maga, same thing with Muay Thai. There's lots of ways for you to take apart another human being with your bare hands. And you don't have to be my size with my physicality to do it. So you need to remember that as you're dealing with people. I've seen little, tiny guys just absolutely smoke bigger guys. And I have dealt with people even larger than I am swiftly and efficiently just by understanding the anatomy of the body and how certain joints don't go this way or don't go that way and how to apply pressure and where bundles of nerves are. So remember that. I've made mention of that story of carrying a loaded weapon into an airport and walking past 12 TSA agents without anybody batting an eye because I was acting like I was there. So to a certain extent, that command presence and moving with a sense of purpose and having an air of authority is Greyman in certain situations. I wanted to see Richard Marcinko go speak at West Point many, many, many years ago. And so it was open only to plebes, first year cadets. Why I was at West Point and what I was doing there is a whole nother story. But I knew he was going to be there, and I was interested in hearing the man speak. So I went to the surplus store. I got some Woodland camis, and I pressed them, and I shaved my beard, my mustache, the whole nine, and polished my boots, put my BDUs on, and I fell in line outside the front gate with everybody else. And we all just walked in as one unit, and we went into I think it was the Thayer Hall. No, Thayer's not a mess hall, it's a restaurant. Anyway, we went into the hall there, the auditorium, wherever it was. I heard him speak for an hour, and he had a book signing afterwards, and I'm standing there in line, he's signing my book, and he says, who should I make this out to, soldier? I said, I'm not a soldier, I just snuck in here to hear you talk, sir. And he lit up ear to ear, right? So if you can pull that off, there are ways for the big guy to be the Greyman, but you have to think about in your daily life, in your daily walk, how is the Greyman being deployed against you? What snap judgments are you making about people that are actually utter BS? Okay? Because you can look at, the 28-year-old, new mom driving the minivan and carrying the purse and the iPhone, hair up in a ponytail, half exhausted, hasn't had much sleep, can't remember the last time she had a shower, just, being a new mom. And just, you can make all kinds of snap judgments about that. Sweet, nice little girl, the whole nine. Try and threaten her baby. Maybe she reaches into that flowery little purse she has and pulls out a 38 special. Okay? Maybe she's the gray woman. right? So you can't take anything for granted is the point, and the gray man can be deployed against you. So all it is urban/suburban camouflage. So you just need to be wargaming in your brain scenarios where that could be used against you, and what do you do about it? Because it's an infiltration technique. That's what it is. It's an infiltration technique, which ultimately I would say, especially in an SHTF scenario, I do believe the Father is going to send us people, okay? Unequivocally, I believe that. I don't know why, other than I'm convicted to believe that. I have no scriptural foundation for that. I have no real world experience for that, other than people show up in my life and then God, the Father, shines light on them and says, you are supposed to help this person. He's done it my entire life. So I can't believe that he wouldn't do it when the world's ending, okay? So I feel that's going to happen. And I feel like the Holy Spirit is going to speak to me about which of these people show up I'm supposed to help and which ones I'm not. Because I already get those inclinations now. That already happens right now. So I can't believe that wouldn't happen in end times SHTF as well. But aside from that, I'm not going out looking for people. I'm not going out having undue interaction with people and exposing myself to potential infiltration, potential subversion by somebody who is something other than what they appear. All right, I'm staying as close to home as possible with my close-knit group of people, my tribe, and we are going to do our lives together to the best of our ability. And when the Father sends us people, we'll know it. All right? Funny story. It's not even a story. It's an anecdote. I have a friend who is a totally awesome guy. He and his wife are missionaries, and their last mission, they were in Uganda. And they, long and short, over 4 years, built a school and an orphanage and a church, and Wells of Joy is the ministry that they've established. They've now moved, I believe they're in Cambodia now, but the property that they bought was owned by witch doctors, okay? Previously owned by witch doctors, and witch doctors and voodoo is a real thing in Uganda. It's a real thing, right? And he finally, there's so many of them that he has to interact with these people. And he finally got one guy to talk to him, and he's like, why won't the witch doctors talk to the Christians? Right? And this guy is a Christian, but he was the first time I ever heard Jesus referred to as Yeshua. So if that gives you some idea of where he lands on the spectrum, awesome brother. I mean, the next time he's stateside, I'll introduce him to y'all if he'll let me. I don't know if OPSEC will allow that, but he's just one of the best human beings you'll ever meet. So he talks to this guy, this witch doctor, and the witch doctor is like, we can tell who the Christians are. And he says, how can you tell? And he goes, very simple. You have the light. So what do you mean I have a light? And literally to these witch doctors, right? Who knows how far through the veil they are able to step with whatever magic and mysticism that they use. I don't understand the metaphysics of it, but they can see Christians because they have a candle on top of their head. They're lit up, illuminated. So if there's a metric, if there's a way for these purveyors of witchcraft to identify other Christians, or to identify Christians, there is a way for us to know as well. And I really believe the Holy Spirit convicts us in that. You know, there's people you meet, you just know. So I just wanted to throw that anecdote in there. I know there are people that I meet where it is unequivocally this was meant to happen. And I do believe that will carry through in end times. And I think that's one defense against infiltration from a gray man. But I would like for y'all to go ponder, what does that look like in your daily life, in your daily walk? What happens if somebody like that gets inside your perimeter and they don't have your best, they don't have the best intentions? We'll put it that way. I'm home. I'm about to turn into my driveway. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Shalom.